Hey, welcome. Good evening. Sometimes I wish I could just start a live when I'm driving the car or whatever, because I'm going to show you some video from today as I was sitting in traffic, but then it became clear why I was sitting in traffic. But anyway, if you see the title of this video, fierce protests in Israel and in Gaza, like that's what I was stuck in this afternoon was the protests going on in Israel. And then I came home to see the news that there are protests going on in Gaza. I don't know to what extent, but that they're protesting Hamas and they're saying, get out, get out, get out. Like, actually. So, and this just comes on the heels of now 50,000 people killed in Gaza. This is the death toll just crossed 50,000 since October 7th, 2023, or let's say October 8th, probably more likely. And since the beginning of this month, there has been no food, no water, no medicine has entered Gaza. The only thing that's entered Gaza is the Israeli army, and the war is just back on, like fully back on, at least from a very one-sided perspective at this point, because Hamas looks to be severely depleted. There have been a few rockets here and there that have been launched from Gaza, but it's been really minimal, especially, of course, compared to their capacity before. And also the ground war. I don't know the full extent of where the Israeli military is operating. I know, like in the north, in some buffer zones that were already created, and those are being expanded. And there are some tanks in there, but at this point, it's mostly just the Air Force. And so there's just, it looks like Gaza is erupting a little bit in chaos now. These are just so this is some video of some of the protests going on. Mind you, it's also still Ramadan. And so, I don't know if I guess the only thing they can do is fast, because like I said, no food has entered the Gaza Strip. So, although what usually happens is every night there's an iftar and they have dinner, and they usually will drink and eat from the sun, from sundown till sunset. But obviously a little bit less festive this year, but now they're really protesting, and they're protesting. I don't know how many. I mean, it's verified that there are protests, but I haven't heard numbers yet. Like, is it a majority of Gazans? I mean, there were 2 million, the population's over 2 million. So I don't know what the percentages of people protesting now actually Hamas. So, so I want to show you a video of what happened to me today. So wait, I'm going to start by telling you where I was today. So, not a typical day. I started out to go to Beit Jala, which is one of the cities adjacent to Bethlehem. So in that district, there's like, depending how you get in, let's say Bethlehem is in the middle, Beit Jala is on one side, Beit Zahora is on the other side. These villages are traditionally Christian, but the population has the Christians are migrating. They've been migrating for years, even from the Ottoman Empire. They have been migrating. So the population that was once like 80%, 20%, 80% Christians, 20% Muslims, is now, I think the Christian population is between 15 to 20%. So in the different cities, like for instance, Beit Zahor is still, I think, majority Christian, and maybe also Beit Jala is, but Bethlehem is not. So it's still Ramadan. So suddenly, as we're planning, we're getting like a whole film crew together, and even interns that we have with us, and we're like, all right, we're going to Bethlehem today, and suddenly we find out it's the Lailat al-Qadr, which is in translated in English, the night of power. I don't know, Tony, is Qadr power? Because Iman was saying, what? That doesn't make sense. It's not Arabic. Anyway, so many people call it the night of power. And during this night, like I think it's like I forgot what this, I didn't look it up and I forgot what the significance is, but it's like they pray all night long. So everybody will be on Al Aqsa all night, praying through the night, camping out on, where the mosque is, and so of course, though, then Israel will close the roads all around the old city, so just everybody suffers, but then they'll limit the people who can go in, like whether it's the number or whether it's by age, because they need to do crowd control, but they also not let in like young men between the ages of 19 to 40. And then it just makes for confrontations everywhere. But of course, with the checkpoints being closed, we're thinking, oh, wow, are we going to get into Bethlehem, and then are we going to get out because you go through a checkpoint? So anyway, we made it in and out, but we had such an interesting day. So first we interviewed a Christian Palestinian, and just about like her experiences and her challenges and struggles. And one thing she told me, for instance, was back in 2000 when there was fighting between the Palestinians and Israelis, between from one hill, which is a Palestinian town, Beit Jala, to this other hill, which is an Israeli town called Gilo. And they were firing missiles, I think also like a helicopter. The helicopter was somehow involved. And she said that they escaped their house, and their house was partially destroyed. But when they went to go check on her friend, she said for the first time in her life, she saw human flesh. And it was her friend's father who was killed. And he was even a foreigner married to a Palestinian. And she said it was like it stuck with her for so long. She was 12 years old. But then after that, she remembers being in her home, and a blonde hair, blue-eyed woman walks in, and turns out she's Israeli, and she comes over and she just hugs her. And she says, "I'm so sorry for what my people did to you." And she said this just totally revolutionized her life. And she said, "I'm always going to seek to find a just peace through peaceful methods." So anyway, so that's been what she does. And so that was just an amazing story. And then when we went to Manger Square, that's where the Church of the Nativity is, where it's the big destination for Christmas, right there in Bethlehem, place where Jesus was born. So it's Ramadan, right? So, like most people there are fasting because now most are Muslim. We had a funeral procession come through the crowded area, Christians, that was for a Christian person who died. And the call to prayer then goes off, and it's like the minaret is right there. So it's so loud. And then I get back eventually, sitting in traffic through the checkpoint, get back to Israel, get back to Jerusalem, and I'm stuck in traffic again. I'm like, what's happening? Although it's become par for the course these days. And I realize why we're not even moving. And I'm going to show you a little bit video. I tried the protest. What you will see is so loud that you couldn't even hear my commentary. So I'm going to try to see if you can hear my commentary now. Let me know if you can hear it, but let's go. Now, what they're saying right now is democracy. I don't know if this is a specific group or if this is just a part of the hostages. Oh, wait. I see. The protests have not stopped. They have only increased and escalated. Now, what they're saying right now is democracy. I don't know if this is a specific group or if this is just a part of the general protests that have been going on. But I've been sitting in this traffic for a while now. I know why. The Knesset is behind us. It's that direction. And that's probably where they're heading right now. But I just drove up by the Central bus station and I saw like a bunch of people coming. just going to pause it. The reason I flipped the camera around like that, I was trying, I don't know if you can hear. Oh, you can barely hear. Nicole says, but you're not seeing anything. Wait, they're coming. They're coming. So I'm going to narrate. I'm going to put their volume down and I'm going to narrate. So, all right. So anyway, sitting in traffic, you see now.
Right
I-
now, but
okay. So we've had protests here.
I
Nicole, can you hear me
just
now?
drove up by the central bus station and I saw like a bunch of people
Okay, you can
coming
hear the
towards the
protests,
direction of
but
the
you can't hear me talking, right? So I'm going to narrate what's happening. All right, so the protests have been going on for 10 days. And lo and behold, here I am now stuck in the traffic of yet another one. And I've got the Knesset, which is the Israeli parliament, is basically behind me. And I realize, like, oh, they must be getting there. And most likely they came from the prime minister's residence, which is basically shut down, like the entire street. It's called Gaza Street, which means Gaza. And ironically, the prime minister's residence is on Gaza Street in the middle of Jerusalem, right? All right, so here we go. So the protests getting closer. Um, the signs. Oh, by the way, so this is a Channel 12 reporter in Bar Freezer covering the protests. Obviously, on her way, walking with the group here. So this one big sign here says it's like the academics are, oh, I gotta pause it, they're going too fast. The academics are struggling, like they're in the struggle, they're in the fight. The other one is let me see what this one is. Matzilim et hachatufim, save the hostages, and and then what they're saying also is democracy. They keep repeating democracy, democracy. So there's just so much going on. Um, you can't see the video. Can you go on and see if you see it? Nicole says she can't see any video. They're saying bring it home. This one gave me a sign. Turns out on the back it says Arabic. It's Arabic. Nicole, are you watching on Facebook or oh, why is there no video show?
Coming up,
Is that Facebook or
see,
YouTube?
Herzl,
Oh
that's
my
a
God.
picture of Herzl, the
Good.
father of Zionism,
All
vowing.
right. Forget it. There's no, so you can hear the video, but you can't see it. What a waste. I like specifically was like figuring this out because I wanted to show you the video because it's like amazing. Like you just saw all of it go by. Okay. All right. Everybody's telling nobody can see it. That's great. It was just a black screen. How sad. How sad, guys. You should see. Look at this video. Look, I'm just going to give you a little
Can you
taste.
send it to me? I could put it on the TV here.
What if I put it on the TV? Just unbelievable. Put it on the TV. I give up. Look. There's the video. Trying to show you guys this. So that's pretty cool, right? I mean, so that sucks. Anyway, so what are they protesting? First of all, they have there's different groups and organizations. So you see the academia, the academics, like it's professors, whatever, that have gotten together and they're like opposed to everything that's happening right now. I mean, the government the Israeli government right now is very considered right wing, although I hesitate to use that term because it doesn't completely compare to right wing in like American politics, for instance. But they're protesting the budget, the like that was just passed, which is favoring specific groups that are coalition partners. They're protesting the firing of the Shin Bet head. They're protesting the potential firing very soon to come, promised firing of the attorney general. They're saying, like, I just heard an interview with a wife of a man who is still a hostage, and she said, what do I care about the budget? Like, you guys are rejoicing because you passed the budget. Why are you not negotiating phase 2 to get out the hostages? Most of these protests are saying, like, bring them back now, make a deal, don't do anything else but make a deal, don't go in militarily. As soon as Israel decided to go back in militarily, like, we woke up to strikes on Gaza. It happened overnight. The decision was taken overnight, and then the warplanes were already, like, bombing areas of Gaza. And since that day, which was last week, the whole country erupted into protests, and people who still have family members who are hostages. There's 59 hostages still, 35 of whom are confirmed dead, and 24 possibly alive. And even this week, Hamas released a video with two Israeli hostages, one of whom had not had a sign of life up until this point. He has a wife who is an immigrant from Colombia and a son who was something like 2 when he was kidnapped and now is 4 and has basically lived half his life without his father. And I heard an interview with the wife, and she said that the boy just can't understand. Like, he even will ask his uncles, like, why won't you go save my dad? Like, why can't you go get him and bring him back? So it's really, like, obviously just something that a kid cannot understand. But anyway, I'm sorry that you missed it. I mean, honestly, like, the whole thing was, I want to show you this video, show you some video of Bethlehem and being there, and the chaos of, it's always chaotic. It's like this city. It's like New York City, driving through New York City, just traffic and everything. And the wall, we went by the wall. We saw the Banksy paintings, and, well, that probably wasn't the Banksy paintings we saw, but, like, all the other wall graffiti, the wall between Israel and Bethlehem, Jerusalem and Bethlehem. Yeah, we'll have a story coming up on that, but not for a while, actually. I also ran into, would not have known, but somebody that I know knew who he was. One of the Palestinian prisoners released in this latest exchange of hostages for prisoners. And he was like the only Christian of the almost 2,000 on the list of Palestinian prisoners released. And there he was, like, so after, I think, 20 something years in prison. And we didn't talk about what, of course, I asked him if I could interview him, but he said, not right now. So I'm like, okay, no problem. So anyway, I didn't get many details about his situation. But anyway, lots of crazy things happening. The country is just erupting. I mean, everything, like, the ultra Orthodox are against being drafted. The, many sectors, even business and labor sectors, are against the new budget, the judicial reform that's coming up here in the Knesset. So just a lot of crazy things happening. And anyway, that is the update. It's the update for today. And that's it. Thank you for